All right, another round of applause for the Hacktivity crew for putting this on. There we go. I want this to go to my Mac, and oops. You got it? All right, let's get it up. All right, I want to say thank you so much for having me. I don't travel much anymore. I used to travel a lot, like something 13, 14 weeks per year, and I'd be away from my family. So now, whenever I travel, it basically is the conference someplace cool. And my team called me up and they're like, hey, do you want to do Hacktivity in Europe? And I was like, I don't know. It's in Budapest. I'm like, book my flights. I love this city. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm just super excited to be here. So today I'm going to talk about a handful of things, but the main thing that I'm going to discuss is cyber deception and how it's incredibly important to any information security program, and why I think it's super easy. What you call quick wins is definitely something you get with cyber deception. And I'm going to start with some quotes of some people that disagree. The first one is, we have Brian Krebs, and says, deception technologies are nice, but only advisable if your organization is already doing 99% of the rest of basic security stuff. As it happens, a lot of really cool tech at RSA is very exclusive audience. Okay, that's Brian Krebs, Krebs on security. And then Jeff Moss, the founder of DEF CON and Black Hat, the Dark Tangent. He has a quote. He says, one interesting omission, Moss said, was the apparent lack of use of deception technology. I've never heard one speaker say, and then I checked our canary, and then I reviewed the deception tech. Who here actually uses that? And I hate to go against two people that I respect. Jeff is a friend of mine, but I disagree with them. And I'm going to walk through why I believe Brian Krebs is wrong. The idea that you should get 99% of all of your security in place and secure everything and then do deception technology, I think is wrong. And Jeff Moss said, well, I've never seen anybody actually use this, and I'm going to counter that with, we see it all the time, and this works. So let's get started. If we look at standard technologies, I want people in the audience, can you shout out, who are the threat actors that keep you awake at night? Who are the hackers, the hacking groups that scare you? Anyone? NSA. Those are my people, right? Let's be honest, right? The NSA. I hear they're pretty good at what they do. I'm just maybe a little bit biased. What are some other threat actors other than the NSA? Yep, absolutely. Pick any nation state, pick any hacking group, right? What do you think the NSA's budget is? Person who shouted out back there, what's the NSA's budget? 8? You're low. I am so sorry. That's their budget for advertising and recruitment. Let's just go with a lot of money. All right. So if we're looking at the NSA and the CIA, because we're over here in Central Europe, and I'm not under the delusion that the United States isn't hacking everybody all the time. In fact, I would expect them to. It's like whenever I'm in America and somebody's like, the Russians hacked us. I'm like, well, of course they did. If they're competent, they would. I would expect that. So if we know that Russians, the Americans with the NSA, the Israelis, look at the Saudi government, since they're buying things from the Israelis, which is weird. That's a whole other conversation. Come talk to me outside. It's strange. They have nation-state budgets. So question number one, can they afford a license for CrowdStrike? Wait a minute, I should back off of that. We should probably be a little careful with that. Maybe not, right? But let's assume that a nation-state can buy CrowdStrike. Number two, do they have the technical expertise to bypass CrowdStrike? SentinelOne, McAfee, and Symantec, I'm not even gonna, that's not hard. When we're looking at what these adversaries have the capabilities of doing and the money that they have, They will easily bypass your security technologies because they are known technologies. Everyone has those technologies, and they can buy and bypass them. This slide is an older slide. It's from the Verizon data breach report, and it covers all the different ways that organizations that were hacked found out they were hacked. Everything I haven't read is an external provider. External fraud detection, external customer, external, the actor went online on Twitter, they're like, yo, we hacked you. External law enforcement, third party, incident response team finds another incident, security researcher, other. If you add up all of the externals, it adds up to about 67% of the detects that happen today happen from somebody outside of an organization. At Black Hills Information Security, we can bypass CrowdStrike and Cylance and all these different tools. And I'm not saying that to brag, even though I think it's cool. I'm saying that because we are a small company in the United States whose budget is not $8 billion or more. And we can do it. We are not Russia. We are not France. We are not Israel. We are not Saudi Arabia. We aren't even a medium-sized organized crime group. And we can do it. So the point is, we can buy these technologies, they can buy these technologies, and they have the skills and the capability to bypass the existing security technologies that many of us have in place in our organizations today. And the problem is, we are predictable. We all have the same firewalls, we all have the same EDR, we all have the same SIM, we all have the exact same technologies, we all do it the same way, and it makes it relatively easy for an attacker to bypass these technologies with adequate time and resources. That's the problem statement. But there are things that we can do. And I'm not saying cyber deception is the ultimate solution, I'm just saying it is part of the solution. And MITRE in the United States has recognized this. They have released a framework called the MITRE Engage framework. Used to be called SHIELD, it's now the Engage framework. And this particular framework has the ability to map out how you can set up deception technology in your organization effectively and cheaply. So why are we doing this? Because, to be honest with you, I am very skeptical of threat intelligence feeds the way that most people use them. The idea of a threat intelligence feed is we're going to buy threat intel for bad IP addresses, bad domains, bad URLs, and we're going to implement that somewhere in our environment, and we're going to detect the attackers. Many of those threat intel feeds that organizations purchase today are simply rehashing free intel feeds from someplace else. And if you have something where an attacker is attacking your network and their IP address is already banned, it is burnt and they have moved on. The attackers move on from IP addresses and domains very, very, very quickly. And if you spend any time with any offensive team, you will learn that we don't use the same infrastructure at Black Hills Information Security today that we used last week or that we used last month. We are constantly updating our IP addresses, URLs, domains, and apps, and things like that as well. So what we need to do is we need to create some concept of risk. We need to put in some variation in our networks and our infrastructures so the attackers do not know what to expect, and then they will make mistakes. And somebody had mentioned the NSA. I have done nation-state level hacking before for the United States government. A lot of people get very coy about that. Like, oh, I did classified work. And a lot of what I did was around, of course, offensive technologies. And we had one rule: don't get caught. And there was a number of reasons why we didn't want to get caught. One, I seriously don't want to get abducted. Number one, that's good. Number two, Whenever you're a nation state and you're spending money on 0 days, they are very expensive. If you get caught and your implant is burnt, if you get caught and your exploit is burnt, it is burnt for good, and it costs potentially millions of dollars. So if an adversary at a nation state level, and I can speak to this, believes there's some deception technology at place in your organizations, and they believe that there's a heightened risk of getting caught, they more than likely will back out and go away. They just will. Because the cost of getting caught is far too high. Does that make sense to everybody? Don't get caught. So if they think that they might, it's going to change their behaviors. So one of the things that you can talk to us about out front is we have Pay What You Can training. In the lower left-hand corner, there's a class, Active Defense and Cyber Deception. That's the next one I'm teaching, probably in November. When we do our live classes for Pay What You Can, they are recorded. So if you're over here, you can take the class and then you can watch the archive of the class later. And the price goes anywhere from $0 to like $400. You pay what you want to pay. I don't charge for it. People can pay me if they want, that's great. My wife is out front. She's got this shirt that says, "Proudly sucking at capitalism." And I have people that ask me all the time, like, dude, if you're giving classes away for free, how are you making money? So I used to teach with the SANS Institute. And I fundamentally believe that SANS can be a life-changing organization for people. How many of you have taken a SANS class at some point? They're fantastic classes. Some of the best instructors in the world. How many of you can't afford a SANS class, but you'd like to take one? Yeah. If you look at our training roster, most of the instructors at Anti-Siphon are former SANS instructors, seniors and fellows. And we like to offer this training to the community as a way of making sure that information security knowledge gets to the people who need it the most, regardless of whether or not they can afford $8,000 to $9,000 US to get there. So be on the lookout on this website. It's the Cyber Deception class. It'll be coming up, I think, on the website after Wild West Hacking Fest in a week or so. And that isn't the only class. I have SOC Core Skills, PCI 101, which is by Kevin Johnson, former SANS instructor. Getting started with security, that's me. Reporting for pen testers. Packet decoding with Chris Brenton, who is a SANS fellow. Professionally Evil, CIS mentorship with Kevin Johnson again. And regular expressions with Joff Thayer, who is a SANS instructor as well. These are classes that go anywhere from free to like $400, whatever you want to pay. I don't judge, I don't care. So let's get started. Harun Mir out of Israel and Thinkist is a friend of mine, and we've been doing stuff for years, met each other at Black Hat. And one of the things I absolutely love about his company is they offer a lot of very cool free utilities. And one of those utilities is canary tokens. And I want to show you what that looks like right here. Okay? So canary tokens is a fantastic website. You can run canary tokens from their website, or you can download it from their GitHub repository and build this on your own at no charge. Okay? So what type of tokens does it provide? The first token is you can do a web bug, you can do a DNS token, AWS keys. This is so cool. You create an AWS key, and then I put in an email address, and then I can put in and then I can create a token. I can now take this AWS cred and I can put it up on my company's GitHub repository or someplace on the web. And if an attacker is actively reconning my organization and they see an AWS key, do you think the attacker is going to get excited? Absolutely. This is like a cheat code for hacking. As soon as they try to access this resource, it will immediately notify you the IP address, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. It'll notify you the IP address of who is actively trying to break into your organization at that time. So that one's really cool. Let's do a new token. What's another one? You can do Azure logon certificates. Sensitive command token. You can run this on your workstations, and if the attacker ever runs, let's say, who am I? It'll trigger an alert that that workstation is compromised. A Word document. By generating a Word document, it puts the token inside the Word document. You put that Word document on your share. What would be a good name for a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet that an attacker would jump on it right away? What would be a good name? Passwords, right? Passwords. Because how many of you are pen testers? I know we have some offensive people. It's like what? Once every other month you are testing a customer and they literally have a spreadsheet called passwords, right? Update, it's constant. So as a pen tester, do you ever see that and go, might be a trap? No, because it's never a trap. Like, they go out of their way sometimes to make it easy. By the way, use the Excel spreadsheet. This actually works regardless of whether or not you have macros enabled, but the spreadsheet, it tends to be more believable. Credit card token, I worked with Sub-T kind of talking about this one. What this does is it actually loads credit cards. Believe it or not, this sounds weird. They're real credit cards. There are credit cards that you can run that as soon as somebody tries to run that credit card, it emails you and lets you know where that credit card was attempted to be used. So if an attacker gets in your environment and they try to run credit cards, you'll grab it. Cube config, WireGuard, cloned website. How many of you have websites that take user ID and password? Somebody has to log into it? Cool. Those 5 people. The rest of you, what are you doing here? I think you stumbled into the wrong presentation. So with this one, you can put in an email address, put in the domain that's protected. So I put in like lightside black hills infosec .com, and then I can put in a note for when it's triggered, and it creates JavaScript. You put this JavaScript on your website inside of that page that has user ID and password. And when an attacker clones your website for a spear phishing attack, they will clone this JavaScript. When they try to run it on their web server, that web server will then try to access the resource here, and you'll be able to get the IP address of who is cloning that website or who's actively trying to test that website. To make it very clear, you can also obfuscate it as well. To make it very clear, this will allow you to detect spear phishing attacks when the attacker clones your website before they even send a spear phish into your organization. I have one more I want to show here, and all of this is free. All of this is stuff that you can run from their website, or you can just download it, GitHub repository, go through the instructions to set it up. You can also create a custom executable where you upload the executable and it backdoors the executable that every time it's fired, it beacons back as well. So you can create a file called vpnconfig.exe, put it on your website in a like robots.txt, no index, no follow, disallow directory. No one will go there, but the hacker will. And as soon as they go there, download that executable, you know where they're at right away. So absolutely fantastic things from the Canary Tokens team and what they've been doing for a while. And how much does that cost? All the stuff I just showed you from Haroon and Thinkist. It's free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Does any of it look hard? Like, golly gee, that will take us months to configure, like Darktrace. No. Like literally, you can set it up in an afternoon. This is an example screenshot of how we use it. Our website at Black Hills Information Security, we're constantly being phished, and the attackers are constantly cloning our website. So this is one of the alerts for one of our websites that we set up, and you can see it's got the date, that's a number of years ago. But it gives us the user agent string, what is the IP address, what is the location, And this was an active campaign against our company in like July. The main part was July 24th, July 25th. And we've got pins on exactly where these people were trying to attack us from. And we were able to block these spear phishing attempts before they sent us a single email. Super easy to do. Let's talk a little bit about Word docs. Word docs are awesome because you can put them on things like shares in your environment. And many people that don't understand how hackers work worry that an attacker won't find it. If you name it passwords.doc, there are tools that pen testers and hackers use, like Share Finder, that will automatically enumerate all of the shares that the hacker or the pen tester has access to. And then it'll search for keywords of all those shares and all those files. And passwords are almost always one of those keywords. So you put it on a share that is readable by everyone in your organization. You call it, passwords.doc. And the attacker will absolutely automatically crawl your environment, try to find that document, and then run that document as well. But there are some things to keep in mind. There are some concerns that you have to be careful of. First thing is, let's talk about family and geolocation. These slides kind of break my heart. We used to have this conference in the United States called DerbyCon. Dave Kennedy ran that con for a long time. I got the honor of presenting there almost every single year. And he shut the con down, and it was like, the vibe that you have here is the vibe like DerbyCon was. You got lots of cool workshops, lots of cool people just hanging out, talking with each other. It's kind of the way DerbyCon was. BrewCon, I don't know, do we have any fans of BrewCon here as well? BrewCon is another one of my favorite conferences. And I sent this document to my brother and just said, please open this. And I sent this to him at like 3 o'clock in the morning because we were at DerbyCon together. And then I woke him up and I said, dude, open it, please open it, please open it, please open it. And he opened it. As you can see, it says he opened it. Now I've got a problem here. Do you see that IP address? 74.143.15.100. What's the problem with geolocation based on IP address? It's not very accurate, is it? Sometimes it will be in the city, roughly. Sometimes it'll be within the country, if you're lucky. Just playing with my IP address here in Europe on cell networks, it has me all over the place, right? Usually it's within a country, but that's not really accurate. But if we look closer, this is where it geolocated to. So you can see that this is in Louisville, Kentucky, and we weren't there. We were way over here, up by the water. So not accurate at all. And that's a long ways off. Why is it that IP addresses for home users and for companies aren't very accurate? It's because of something called Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. If you're an ISP, you have a pool of IP addresses that you hand out. And those IP addresses will be handed out via DHCP to all of your customers. And if they go down or the system resets, it's going to just give them a new IP address. So why would you bother geolocating those IP addresses? The answer is you wouldn't. However, if you know how networking works, and you understand things like BGP, Border Gateway Protocol, you understand things like traceroute, you know that before we get to that IP address, that 74.143.15.100, there's going to be an edge router that the ISP is responsible for. And those tend to be a lot more accurate. So I trace routed to that IP address, and I'm not interested in the last one at the bottom, the 74.143.15.100. I'm interested in number 16, the one right before it, because that's the ISP's router. And that router is right there. Do you see the Hyatt Regency Louisville? Just follow Jefferson Street. It was 1 block away from where we were. That's a lot more accurate geolocation. That's getting us in the neighborhood. That works out pretty well. So, what about hackers using things like Kali, right? The hacker's using Kali, it's not Microsoft Word, right? So if I'm using a text viewer inside of Linux to open Word documents, because you're not going to open up a docx in VI. I'm sorry, you're not. That's insane. The way to do it properly is to decompress it, then access the document, but no one ever does that. And I'll come back to that here in a second. So they're going to use some type of editor if they're in something like Kali. If we use Word web bugs, we can embed HTML inside of a Word document. So you can see here it says HTML head. We can put in a style sheet. We can put in an image source tag. That that code will not show up in the document. It'll just look like a standard document. But this is what tracking looks like in Word documents with AbiWord, LibreOffice, Apple TextEdit, and Microsoft Word. If you put in those image source tags, if you put in those cascading style sheets, you will get callbacks from those documents for it to render properly. The other thing that I want you all to do, and I would like you to just write this down on your hand. They were talking about sweets and beer, not tonight, but tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night's the beer? No, it's tonight. Yeah, you're going to want to write this down somewhere where you will remember it, okay? Because after you start drinking, who knows what you're going to remember. Go to your environment. In Active Directory, create Honey user accounts. This is the easiest thing that you can do, and I guarantee you it will light up your pen tester if they get access to your environment and try to move laterally. If you create these Honey user accounts, an attacker doesn't pick an account by name. They automatically spray every single account in the environment with a single password. That is the go-to move every single attacker does post-exploitation. They attempt to do a password spray. In this environment, I created a user admin ADM administrator. I set the logon hours to nothing. The reason why I did this is because I want the account to be active and not locked, but I don't want the attacker to actually log into it, okay? Now, when somebody attempts a password spray, I get an alert as soon as they log in. You can also set up service accounts that are Kerberoastable in your environment. These can be Honey accounts. This is actually from one of our customers right here. This is actually one of our tools, the deception toolkit that we created. It says this is a high priority alert. Somebody may attempting to exploit Active Directory. This caught one of our pen testers. It was a tool that we released and the customer caught one of our pen testers attempting Kerberoasting. You can set up Kerberoastable accounts, very quick and easy to do in your environment, and generate alerts as soon as somebody tries to authenticate. And I love adding this to our reports. It says effective use of traps. Multiple hosts on this domain were installed as traps. Activities conducted by Black Hills Information Security revealed that these traps were vulnerable to multiple insecurities. They made tempting targets. Any interaction with these hosts triggers alerts to customers and reported to Black Hills Information Security during the test. While these should not be relied on as a sole source of protection, they do provide an added layer of defense. Every time my testers have to add this to the report, every damn time they call me up and they complain about it. They're like, John, we just tested somebody who took one of your classes and they put in all of these honeypots and all of these Honey user accounts and they were shutting us down everywhere we went. I'm like, don't care. Are you crying? Yes, just a little bit. Bottle those tears. Send them to me. Tester tears make the best wine. Another tool that we have created, this has been updated by Bradley. This is called Honey Badger. It creates Visual Basic, and you can embed it into an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document, anything that can run macros. PowerPoints can also run macros on open. You have to edit them in a different way, but you can. And as soon as somebody opens them, it runs this PowerShell in the middle. It says PowerShell netsh WLAN show networks mode equals BSSID. It'll dump all of the networks visible to the attacker's computer system if they run this document. You just compile it, and that's the level of geolocation that you get. That's actually the hotel, like I said, shout out to DerbyCon. It actually put a pin right on top of the hotel where we were. So it's even more accurate than geolocation based on IP address. And this tool is free. And you can get it here. And I will, by the way, I will share my slides up on the Discord server. So if you want to play around with it, you absolutely can. But wait, there's more. I'm giving away copies of Backdoors and Breaches out in the main room. I think a number of you already have copies of those. You can go to play.backdoorsandbreaches.com and play the entire game virtually with your team. It's all available. It looks like this. It works just like the regular card game, no charge whatsoever, which I think is kind of cool. You have like initial access, how does they move laterally in the environment, command and control, and persistence. It's all for free. It's all online. If you want copies of the game, I took a picture just this morning while we were setting up the booth. Come and get copies. And once again, if you have team members that didn't make it to this conference, please grab extra copies for them as well, because we try to ship to Europe and we get things returned all the time. There's a number of reasons why our stuff doesn't make it here. It's really annoying. So we're trying to come to conferences in Europe to try to bring the copies to you. We're hoping to get a store set up so people can buy it at some point. Final thing, and I've got 9 minutes, which is awesome. I just talked about a lot of deception technology. It's entirely possible that there's a number of you that want to learn more about deception. If you want to know more about deception, all of the labs for my Pay What You Can class are available for free online. We have SpiderTrap, which allows you to create a web server with infinitely recursive web directories that'll crash somebody attempting to attack your web server. Cowrie is a fake SSH server that'll spin an attacker up forever. Canary tokens, Rita, Blue Spawn. Port Spoof will take all 65,536 ports on your system and make them all live with random services. Whenever you port scan a system, it'll take roughly 1 day to scan a single IP address. That is awesome. Honey Badger is there. HoneyShare, I love this. Let me show you this one. So with HoneyShare, like I said, full step-by-step instructions on how to run it. We're using Impacket to create an SMB server. And if the attacker tries to access that server, it captures the authentication of that hacked computer. So it'll tell you which IP address, what user account, it'll intercept their password hashes as well. So full instructions on how to do that. Honey user account, I talked about how you can set it up in the slides. Here's step-by-step instructions on how to do it. Just go through event viewer, create a custom rule, and then if anybody tries to authenticate, it generates an alert. Advanced command file audit. If you want to set up files that as soon as an attacker touches those files, it generates an alert, full step-by-step instructions there as well. But here's the big thing, all right? If you go into the Discord server for this right here, this Get Deception, and you go to this form, it just says, do you want the Cloud Lab? And you just put in your email address and submit it. What that'll get you, and it's going to take me a while to get it updated for everybody, and this is all on Discord. Once you get in, it'll get you this. It'll get you a full Cloud Lab set up online for free. And then you can go through all of those labs inside of this VM, and you can run through them step by step. Super easy peasy. It's all set up and ready to go. Now I got a question for you. Do you think it's fast? No, it is not. I'm giving it to you for free. So don't hit me up and be like, dude, it's slow. I'm like giving this away for free to like thousands of people. Bear with me. But it has Windows subsystem for Linux built into it. so you can run a full Ubuntu system. And actually all the labs in that GitHub repository are in here, and you can do all of them. And there you go. So like I said, totally not fast from a GUI perspective because it's using VNC over HTTPS. But once you're running a terminal, like you're running, Ubuntu, there you go. And yeah, it's got a full embedded Linux system set up, so you can do all the Linux things back and forth between the VMs. And it also has like a Kali instance and a level 1 threat hunting VM built into it. But yeah, this is all free, no charge to the attendees. And I'll probably leave it up and running for everybody until the end of the week. But you just have to go to the Discord server, click that link, add your email address in here, and then I will go ahead and get you access to the Deception Labs so you can get hands-on. One of the things the people at Hacktivity were telling me about is they really wanted us to bring hands-on. So we're bringing the hands-on card game for free. We have the zines, the Darknet Diaries magazine. We have the full Deception Lab for free. I just wanted to make sure that we could give you guys as much hands-on as we possibly could. So that is it. So I wanted to say once again, thank you very much for having me out here. Absolutely love coming to Europe. And please take advantage of all the resources, not just here, but from the other vendors. You have workshops, you have all kinds of stuff. And one of the things I love about this conference, and I hope that you never stop doing, is it's impossible for you to do everything at this conference in 1 year. Between the workshops, the hands-on, the presentations, you're gonna have to come back year after year, and I think that that's a hallmark of a great conference. Speaking of which, thank you so much for your time today. Go out and enjoy this conference, and I'll see many of you out front. Thanks again, everybody.